Hey guys, this week in class we're going to be talking specifically about color and a really good color workflow. Just to cover some of the basics real quick and to walk through a few of the shortcut keys when applying color. I want you to pay attention over here to the foreground or your fill and your stroke colors. And there's a series of shortcut keys that you guys need to make sure that you understand. The D key, D as in dog, is the shortcut key to set your default colors to black and white, and what that will usually do is set your fill to white and your stroke to black. X is the shortcut key to change which of the two are active. So when you press X, it's going to flip which is active, your fill or your stroke. Shift X will flip your colors, your stroke and your fill colors. The / key is the shortcut key to remove whatever it is that is active. And again, D as in dog is how you can set your default colors back up. Those are some shortcut keys for working with color that you may want to get used to using. Now what we're going to spend most of the time talking about in class is working with specific color palettes and changing colors. Color can be a very difficult thing for people to use correctly. There are a bunch of resources out there. Adobe has one inside of Illustrator, something called color themes. This can be found up under the window menu, window, and then down to color themes. And what this will allow you to do is, as long as you have an internet connection, you can go in and you can explore and you can look at a lot of different color palettes, and you can search by the most popular. You can look through all of their themes, and once you find a color theme that you want to work with, like let's say I like this color theme right here, you can click on these little three dots and you can add these colors to your swatches panel. When you go into your create theme, you can work with a couple of different options. One option is that you can set your color rule, whether you want to work with analogous or monochromatic or triads, and when you flip these, it changes your sliders. So when you move your sliders, and if you're working in a monochromatic palette, you can go in and you can tweak these. You could change your theme working with either the color wheel itself or sliders, CMYK sliders. You can mix your colors and whatnot. And when you get something that you like, or find something that you like, you can go in and you can add that to your swatches. When you click add to swatches, this will add it as a color group. Another way to create a new swatch is just to go up and mix your colors. You'll see that you have a new fill color here, and then you can just go down to your swatches panel and you can click on new swatch, give it a name, identify what type of color you want it to be, a process or spot. You can make it global. We're going to get into global and the benefits of using global colors in just a few minutes. You can make any adjustments to it, and then you can click OK, and it's going to identify that as a new fill color that you can use. You also have some different color books down here. If you take a look at your swatches panel, all of these are different color palettes based off of all different types of things. We have art history palettes, color book palettes where you can find all of your Pantone colors. And if you're working with a Pantone chart, you could go in and you could identify specific colors. And then in your color panel, it will allow you to change the tint of that specific Pantone color or convert it back to a CMYK or RGB color based on whatever color mode you're working out of. Another useful tool in color is the color guide panel. And when you choose a color, the color guide panel will allow you to see tints of these colors and shades. You could also go in and change the rule a color rule. So for this specific color, this is a color palette for this, and these are all the shades and the tints. And you can go in and you can switch these up. This is really good when you're working with shading or setting up gradients or anything like that. These are good options to have. You can also take any group of colors. You can hold down your command key and you can randomly select colors in your swatches panel, and you can put those into a color group. Selected swatches, you could give it a name, and it'll stick those colors inside of a color group. And you can also select color groups or swatches, individual swatches, and you can delete them if you're not going to use them. You can always get them back. And all of the swatch books are right here. And the default swatches are right in here. So whether you're working in RGB, which is going to be a web color mode, or print, which is going to be a CMYK color mode, which is what we're looking at right now, you can go in and you can get those back. Another way to create a color palette, which is the way that I usually prefer, especially if I'm working on a specific project, is through sampling colors from an image. And the easiest way to do that is to just go to your File, Place menu, go find an image that you want to use, and I'm just going to place this image in as a link. Just click and drag that in. And what I can do is I can use my eyedropper tool. I can double click on that eyedropper tool to change how I'm going to sample this, whether it's going to be a point sample, which would sample individual pixels, an average of 3 by 3 pixels, or an average of 5 and 5 pixels. So I'm just going to leave this on 3 by 3 for right now. You can always come back in and change this. And what I usually like to do is I'll go grab just a shape tool, draw me a few shapes. Just going to hold down Option, and click and drag, and then press Command D, and that'll duplicate that. And I would duplicate that for every color that I want to add as my palette. I'm going to go grab my eyedropper tool. When you have your eyedropper tool selected, if you hold down your command key is your modifier key for your selection tool. So with my eyedropper selected, I can hold down my command key, select a box, and then go into my image and sample a color. Hold down command, go click on the next one, go into my image, sample a new color. Go select the next one, sample a new color. And I can do this for every color that I want to add into this palette. Grab one more, maybe something lighter. So what I have I have 6 colors right here. I can take these, select all of these, and go over to my swatches panel, and I can create a new color group. I'm just going to say Lighthouse. Now I'm going to create a new color group, not based on the swatches that I have selected like we looked at a while ago, but based off of the selected artwork. So these 6 shapes, which have been identified and given color, I can convert those to swatches. Now there's an option down here that says Convert Process to Global. Now the benefits of working with global colors versus just process colors is that when a color is global, you can go in, and if you ever need to change anything from a production standpoint, it's great. Because if your client ever needs you to go in and they don't specifically like this color, and this color has been applied to a lot of different elements, then you can go in and you can change that color in the swatches panel, and anything that has been given that color, that has been filled with that color, it will automatically update all of them. So I usually work with global colors. So I'm just going to leave this on. I'm going to click OK. I'll see a new color palette has been created, and there's a small little white triangle down in the bottom that identifies this as a global color. Now the benefits of this is that when I go in, and let's just say I have some art, I've got this is going to be this color, and I've got these three, we'll give them that color, and these two will get this color. These two are going to get this one, and then these two already have this one. If my client doesn't like this color, and this color has been assigned to a lot of different elements, instead of having to go find all of these elements within my document, and if I'm working with a multi-page document, that can be a lot. I can go in, and I don't even have to select these. I go find the color. I usually try to find one element, select it, and make sure that that's the color that they want. Double click this, and then if I click on my preview, as I'm changing this, it will change all of the elements, or update all of the elements to the new color. That's the benefits of working with global colors. Now if I have a series of colors, let's just say that I've got this one, it's going to be this one, this one. And I go in and I take these colors and create a brand new color group and turn off the convert process to global. I see that these are not global colors. I have a lot of art now, and these three have been given this color, and these two have been given this color, and my client doesn't like this color. If I go in and try to change it, it'll change the swatch, but it will not update all of the elements that have been given that specific fill. So it's good to work with global based colors for most things. Just kind of keep that in mind as you're working. Quick side note, if you have art that you have assigned colors to, and these colors are not global colors, you can convert your regular process colors to global colors. And the way that you do this, you can do it individually. So you could double click on each individual color, check global, and click OK, and it will convert this over to a global color. But you can also select multiple, and I just held down shift and selected these, and then you can go to your swatches flyout menu and go to the swatch options, and then you can check global. Another cool thing about Illustrator and different things that you can do is you can recolor your art. So if we have a graphic, let's just say we have this right here, and our client, or maybe not even our client, maybe we just want some variations of some different ways that we can recolor something or change the colors without having to go in and specifically select each one of these and sample it out. There's a really cool way that you can do this, and if you select your art, you can go up here to your control panel, and up in your control panel you're going to see a button that says Recolor Artwork. It's going to look like a color wheel, and with your element selected, you can click on this, and this Recolor Artwork dialog is going to pop up, and again it's going to give you a lot of options. Things like your color rules. If you want to flip it to a specific color rule, maybe triads or complementary. You can also go in and identify specific colors and say, hey, this is the current color for, like, let's say this element right here. I can go in and I can double click and I can change that specific color, and anything that has that color assigned to it will update. Another thing that you can do is you can go into the edit, and it will allow you to identify colors this way, and I could change specific colors based on these sliders. But I can also go in and I can lock these sliders, and then when I move one, it will move them all. So there's a lot of ways that you can go in and you can add and change colors in Illustrator. Unlock, just change a couple. But these are fast ways to edit your colors or to recolor your artwork. And the last thing that we're going to look at in class is the benefits of using some texture fills inside of Illustrator. So let's say for this background, I'm just going to zoom in so we can see it. For this background, I want to apply some type of texture just to give it a little more depth. So what I can do is I can select this background, and I can go in, and I've already got one added. I'm just going to delete it real quick. I can go in with this background selected, and I can begin adding strokes or fills or different effects like we looked at earlier. But I can add a new fill, and if I change the color of this fill, think about it like it's a layers panel. This fill is above this blue fill, so you can no longer see the blue fill. But if we choose not to do a solid color fill, we can also do a gradient. We're going to get into gradients a little later on, but we can also go down to our color book, and we can go down to patterns, and you've got a lot of different patterns. I find some really cool overlay fills inside of the basic graphics textures panel, which is up under the basic graphics. And what this is going to allow me to do is change this fill color to a texture. And these textures are seen not as raster based or bitmap based vectors, but these are fills. So this will fill your object, and you can still see your original color under it. Now this is just the beginning of this, because you can also take this fill, this specific fill, without messing with this one down here, and you can change its opacity. So if you like that texture but you think it's a little too strong, you can turn its opacity up or down. And we're not into this much, but you can also change its blending mode. So plenty of options to play around with, and I encourage you to explore those this week in Illustrator.